The
Robert
big A.
Cross with that lovely smile. How you doing, buddy?
How are you, Ahmad?
Fantastic. Thanks for coming on. Wanted to bring you on. My
Yeah,
favorite client. Don't tell anyone else I said that though, right? Because they're not going to see this.
sure.
Wanted you to come on, Robert, and share your story. You are yourself a compelling, accomplished consultant doing some really interesting things, which I'd love to get into.
Yeah,
Want to talk about you, what you're up to, your experience inside the program. You've now graduated far beyond the 90-day pipeline, and we still work together. And just wanted you to come on and share your thoughts. There's lots of folks who are watching this video who are curious if this thing is a real deal and if they should work with somebody like me. And you'll tell them, of course, that they shouldn't, right? Stay as far away as possible, and that's
yep.
okay. But you'll also share why. So let's start here. Robert, tell us a little bit about what you do and who you do it for, and paint a bit of a backstory about where you were before we started working together, what was going on in the business, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I work as a business strategy consultant, and I had been in business for myself for 5 years. Had a significant amount of success, as you stated, working with a variety of businesses in Portland, Oregon. But I realized that I wasn't being as strategic as I could be or needed to be. I realized that I could work with purpose and intent. And I had worked with a couple of consultants before on different facets of my business. I was well aware of the value of LinkedIn and content marketing and video and how LinkedIn's growing as a sales channel. Oh, sorry there. And so success, realized that I could be doing smarter, not necessarily, smarter and better, and had come across some of your social media content and kind of just knew that it was a proper direction for me to go in at the time.
I'm curious, and I don't know that I've asked you this, so I'm genuinely curious for my own sake.
Yeah.
Like, what was it about the initial message that you saw from me, or what was I communicating that initially grabbed your attention?
So all I really did, honestly, is I saw a couple of your videos scrolling in my feed. I think I watched one of them and I was like, I'm going to work with him. So I was sold before I bought. And I think in my case, I knew, being a consultant and understanding the value of collaborators, of partners, of well-educated people in the space, people that have experience in the space. You can't do everything. And quite frankly, you shouldn't do everything. And I just knew, I just knew that it was the right direction to go in. And
It's
you valid
like love at first sight. I'm going to cry, Robert.
It's a love at first sight. Well, and we had the call, but I knew what I needed. I saw the value in it, and you came along at the right time. So there was a little bit of luck in it, little pluck.
Totally. Yeah. So talk me through the experience. We started working together, and I don't know that you knew what to expect or how it would work, but I'd love for you to talk me through what were the big takeaways, shifts? What did you find? What did you see? Tell all.
I will tell it all. So the first thing that comes to mind is tremendous value. And that's meaningful, right? Because it's an investment on anyone's part to engage and go through a process like this, your time and your energy. And I think the most important thing is tremendous value. That's what I've seen. The product and the program are well constructed. You can go at your own pace, but you're encouraged to move along with the people that are also in the program. The second thought that popped into my head is that there's a ton of support. If you need something, you get something. Particularly in my case and the personal stuff that I was dealing with, and our frank discussions around that and the understanding, and it was very, very helpful to me. And then I think in application, and part of where I have gotten to the point of recommending you casually, when I see fit or I think about it, is this incisive thinking. Incisive thinking is of extreme value to me, in the sense that there's a lot happening in our businesses. There's a lot happening with our customers. There's a lot happening with any facet of a business. And if you can be incisive in a conversation and come up with that key idea, that golden nugget, I mean, that alone can be worth the cost of an engagement. And what I've seen throughout, not only with myself, but with other people who are in the 90-day program, is it's common practice. I mean, it's regular, it's common practice. And I think a lot of that has to do with the trust that you build with the program participants.
You know, it's interesting because I've definitely found this in relationships that I've had with consultants, coaches, mentors, that sometimes it's just one idea makes the whole thing worth it. Yep. You know, and you pay to be in the room, and you often pay, you know, big dollars to be in the room. You don't really know what that one idea is going to be, but you take that leap of faith, right? Yeah. And then sometimes it's just like one idea, one insight, one nugget, one perspective, one way of looking at things that just changes the game.
Unequivocally.
And
that, so I'm gonna speak to that a second, kind of in another way. A couple of my colleagues who are not in the program, you know, everybody has your 25 people, your 50 people, whatever it may be, that you kind of keep tabs on throughout the year. They'll ask me how it's going and so on and so forth. And I'll say, you know, in this particular month, I had to step back because I'm focusing on this or that. And they're like, well, how long are you going to do the program? I'm like, forever. No, I mean, like, yeah. I mean, and the thing is to me is because of value, right? It's having a trusted business partner. That's what matters to me, because if you're in this game for the long haul and you don't have trusted business partners, you're a fool.
Yeah. We
can't cover all the bases. And whether I'm participating in the program 60%, 80%, 100% at any given time, just by having my ear attuned to the conversation, I'm hearing stuff. And then you and I get to touch base and really have good dialogue. One or two ideas a quarter are invaluable to me.
I want to hit on a couple of really important things here that you mentioned. One is environment. I think people underestimate the value of surrounding themselves with the right people in the right environment, and the quality of thinking that comes out of good environments, like the soil, right? You plant in dirt, you know, in dirt, you're going to get dirt, right? You're planting good, rich soil with nutrients, you're going to get a better product in the end. Tell me a little bit about the environment, not only what you're getting from me, obviously, which I appreciate the kind words, but tell me about the people. Like, who are you surrounded by and how do you feel about that community?
The community is really, really important. And I think it's a subtle benefit of the program. You know, because obviously you yourself as a client, myself as a client, I'm there for my objectives, my challenges and opportunities, and trying to address them. But when you're working with a dozen, 15 other people that are going through the program, well, number one, they're facing a lot of similar issues in different ways. So if you're a good learner and you're paying attention, the insight that you're getting across the board is only going to hasten your development, which I've found, number one. Number two, everybody who's a part of the 90-day program is there to be successful. And that's why they're taking the time. They're working with purpose and intent. They're investing in themselves. And invariably, if you surround yourself with those types of people, there's a camaraderie and support and working through some of these challenges and just realizing that you as a solo entrepreneur, or you as an executive transitioning to consulting, or you taking a small business trying to make it into a small company, you're not alone. And I think there's a danger in not sharing, not collaborating, not being open, not engaging, that too many people wait too long to address.
Yeah, it's funny because we get clients that come in who, unlike you, are pretty closed off
Yeah.
and not super collaborative and don't really want to share, don't really want to engage. They want to get what they want and they want to be on their way. And they get that. But I honestly feel like they're missing out on a big chunk of the experience by not participating in the exchange and the cross-pollination of ideas that comes from that exchange. You're one of the ones I think that's done an exceptional job of that. You're very involved. You're commenting on other people's stuff. And guess what? You figured this out because you know this. How do you cement learning? By teaching and applying it to other scenarios. So you take the
Yeah.
concepts that you're gathering here and elsewhere, and you're helping other people apply to their businesses. That cements the learning in your mind.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I, again, when you think of the 90-day program, it's about building a sales pipeline. That's probably why a lot of people go there. And there's real tangible value in that regard, right? But to me, the long-term value is way beyond that. It's being open, collaborating, being thoughtful, engaging in dialogue, and uncovering gems throughout the process that you can apply to your business and your dealings that you wouldn't even think about before you enter the program, in all likelihood.
It's a classic bait and switch, right?
Classic bait and switch.
We'll sell you the sales pipeline. You get the sales pipeline, but you get all this other stuff that you don't even know that you needed until you jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think that that's part of the value of the construct of the program. It's not a bunch of modules or an assembly line where you have to go in a certain order and you have to fulfill certain facets of a program in order to achieve the value. You're achieving value from day one if you're open and engaged. And I think that in working with you, particularly in the one-on-one sessions, a lot of that's invaluable. Like if you're closed off, if you're coming from a corporate setting, if you're an engineer who's starting a consulting firm, if you're coming from environments where things are more fixed and rigid, if you're coming from environments from where things are more fixed and rigid, it's invaluable to work with somebody that's able to kind of break that mold a bit, kind of demystify and say, yes, you can do this. And this is why you need to do this.
100%. Robert, I'd love to dive a little bit deeper into the positioning story here. Because now when you came in, you had a pretty varied past and lots of interesting experiences. Pretty typical, right? Lots of smart people have very varied experiences and diverse experiences. And we were looking for focus. We found focus. And now I think the work that you're doing as a result of that focus is pretty incredible. Can you tell us that story?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, it was being aware and cognizant of, yes, I had achieved a level of success. I was working with good people, but I wasn't necessarily doing the work that I was passionate about. So in my case, I intentionally moved from New York City to Oregon to work on climate change issues, particularly in regard to renewable energy and clean technology. But as I stated, I was consulting to a wide variety of businesses. You and I kind of made the breakthrough last summer in talking about, look, there's value in niching down. There's value in being more thoughtful and strategic into who we work with and why. It's a lot better from a marketing perspective because you can become more intentional in conversation and reduce the amount of time and energy that you're putting into that space, because otherwise you have to talk to all kinds of people and hear all kinds of things to all kinds of people. But more importantly, by narrowing down and having an opportunity to work in spaces that you're going to be most productive in, that's where opportunities come. As you know, more recently in moving to San Diego is a big clean tech hub. That was part of the thought process in coming here. And my branding and market positioning really resonated because you have to generate energy and it's clean, but then you have to store it, you have to transform it, you have to do a lot of different things. And by niching down on my positioning, it gave me a lot of opportunities to talk to clean tech entrepreneurs and CEOs and founders of those businesses. And heading into the new year, I was afforded an opportunity to become a partner in a clean tech company that has significant upside. And I'm not really sure that that would have happened, not because I can't do that work, but because I would have been occupied working with others.
The focus created opportunities or raised the visibility of opportunities that you probably wouldn't have seen if you didn't have that focus.
Absolutely. Because when transitioning markets, and you and I were talking about it around the holidays, because I was only picking 2 verticals to work in, and because I was going to test the new business model and application in San Diego specifically, first face-to-face, that greatly winnowed down my approach to market. I'm going to join the California Solar and Storage Association that has me covered on renewable energy. And in my backyard, I'm going to join Clean Tech San Diego. My very first conversation that I had in moving from Oregon to California was with the executive director of Clean Tech San Diego, got me set up and sent me introductions to a variety of people. The very first introduction I made through him was the founder and CEO of Connectric, and now I'm a partner in that business. So if you think about it, you're changing markets, you're moving, a lot of stuff's going on. If you have a broad horizontal approach and a business model that's broad and a program delivery that's broad, what is the likelihood that I would have picked up the phone to the executive director of the Clean Tech organization, who readily recognized my value to one of his members who's the founder of a clean tech company? It might have taken me 2 years. And then I would have missed the boat.
And now what happens when Robert has spent the next, 2, 3, 4 years helping all the major players in this, growing but still very small industry, and develops a reputation and a name for himself, and then has people knocking down his door because they want him to be the catalyst in their growth, which is your future. And it's pretty clear.
Yeah. I think it's invaluable. And this kind of goes back to why I find you to be a trusted business partner, a colleague, and a friend, is that positioning is critical. And the insight that you get from working with you in regard to market positioning is invaluable. At the end of the day, the time and energy that we put into this space that we work on every day can only take you so far if you're in the wrong position. And that's part of what I've learned through this program. I can do well and I can work well with anybody, but where is that going to leave me in 3 to 5 years if my market positioning is too diffuse, if my value proposition clarity is not where it needs to be, if I'm having conversations with the wrong people? So for people that are concerned about niching down or honing in on positioning, I think your true concern should be otherwise, and have faith in the process.
Yeah, at the end of the day, good positioning is like you're rowing the boat in the right direction. You can row in any which way. You can have one rower going this way, one rower going that way. And that's most people with broad generic positioning. But when it's dialed in, everyone is rowing in the same direction. The boat's moving. It moves faster. It gets more traction, more speed, more velocity. And you get to the destination faster. At the end of the day, for you to have the kind of traction that you're getting now in any one industry, if you're working in 5 industries, it would take 5 times as long.
Our next LinkedIn post, maybe it should be a joint LinkedIn post. What's the shortest distance between point A and point B? A straight line.
Sounds good.
No, but I've been starting to say that to my clients. It's a straight line. And if you don't have proper positioning, or if you don't have clarity on your value proposition, you're going to waste time and energy.
Yeah, you're zigzagging, 100%. Listen, man, I really appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else you think is important to share or that we haven't talked about that we should mention?
Surround yourself with people that are successful. Don't get scared off by a price tag. That is scarcity mindset, not abundance mindset.
That's good advice.
You're welcome.
Translation: don't get scared up by my price tag, right?
or invest in yourself. I mean, if you are looking to play a long game in this space, whatever your professional endeavor is, and you're not investing in yourself, it's a mistake. Would you say that to your clients?
Don't expect clients to invest in you if you want to invest in yourself. I find it comical at this stage. It's sad, but I can't help but laugh at this stage is when people will not pull the trigger on an investment like this, that obviously, and if it's undisputable value, even to a prospect they know, right?
Yeah.
And then turn around and ask their clients to invest.
Yeah. Well,
the dissonance there, no, like everyone's seeing right through you at that stage.
Yeah. Are you committed to yourself? And I think to kind of end this call, are you committed to yourself? If you're committed to yourself, the value's here, and go after it, because that's why we're here. Our time and energy is limited.
I'm gonna ask you one more question, because it's actually something that I get a lot of when I talk to people or they want to come into the program. They talk to my team. Is they start to wonder, well, this is a big program, and Ahmed's like this big figure, and am I really going to get the time and attention? Like, is he going to care about me? I don't know. What would you say to that? I won't put words in your mouth.
Well, we joke about it because I've nicknamed you the Big A, and I think it's the opposite. I mean, I've seen the growth and success of your business and the program, and it would be easy for somebody in your position to take a step back or to be more distant. I've never found that to be the case. We've had conversations offline, planning a trip to visit you in Toronto later this year. And
come when the Rangers are in town. We'll go to a game.
When the Rangers are in town, let's drop the gloves.
We'll wipe the floor with you guys.
Yeah. No, I don't. I've never found that to be true at all. Again, the program provides value in and of itself. Going through the modules, having the conversations, the biweekly calls, the twice a week calls, invaluable. But to me, the cherry on top, so to speak, is to be able to work with you, and the intimacy of the dialogue and the shared ideas and collaborating on challenging business problems. There hasn't been one time, and it's almost coming up on a year that we've been working together, that I haven't been able to reach you, haven't been able to hop on a call, haven't been able to collaborate or discuss via Slack. You've always been there.
Cool. Well, best part of my job, Robert, is I get to work with people that are smarter than me, and you're one of them. So I really appreciate it, man. It's an honor to serve, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it as well.